You're listening to the Mermaid Podcast here on WPOD-FM, Mermaid Radio. I'm Gary Guppy, and we hope you enjoy today's program.
Welcome to the Mermaid Podcast, where we dive deep into the magical world of mermaiding and all things aquatic. I'm your host, Shira, and these are my co-hosts, Sierra Mermaid, and the merman capable of doing many things, but too lazy to do any of them, Merman Nathaniel.
Whether you're a seasoned performer, hobbyist, or curious adventure seeker, this is the place for you. We'll be highlighting our fantastic community and what we're all about, making magic and living out our best mermaid dreams.
Today, we'll be diving into our Pride episode, so grab your tails and get ready to make a splash. Don't forget to follow us on TikTok and Blue Sky at the Mermaid Podcast, and join the pod on Discord to connect with our community, linked in the description. If you like what we do, please consider donating to our coffee to help us continue the podcast. Let's dive in. Why, hello there! We are so excited to have you guys back for our Pride episode. Welcome. My name is Sierra Mermaid, and I've got Shira and Merman Nathaniel with me today.
Hey.
Hi!
And you did hear me right. It is the Pride episode. We want to start out by saying Happy Pride.
Yes, happy Pride to everyone who celebrates, allies and members of the LGBTQ community included.
Absolutely. And speaking of, we do love to have community input from the pod on Discord. And we were able to speak with a few members, get a few submissions for this episode. It's going to be really special to us. We love hearing from you, getting to share your stories with you. And we do have 4 submissions today to read in regards to the Pride Month and what mermaiding means to them in terms of their pride.
Yeah, so the mermaiding community I think it just has a huge overlap with the LGBTQ plus community. I think it's a place where a lot of people feel like they can be themselves and be accepted, and also just the parallels between becoming a human to becoming a mermaid or a merman or a merfolk, and being something like transgender and changing your gender, or just being outside the binary in some way. I think it means a lot to people who are in the mermaiding community and who are LGBTQ plus to explore those kind of connections, and I think that's why there's such a big overlap in the community.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's very well said. And it's also, the community is so strong. Just mermaiding community in general. Everybody's so kind. There's no hatred. For the most part, there's no bigotry. Of course, there are sour apples, which is very unfortunate. Overall, it's such a welcoming place where you can be yourself. And I think that is such a necessary space to have.
As a bisexual man myself, it does feel rather nice to be in a group where everyone does just sort of welcome each other with open arms. You know, nobody's really judging me at all for doing this or that. It's just nice, you know? It's just nice being around people who either are like me or are just willing to support me for this sort of thing, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're going to start reading some of these submissions. This was sent out on our Blue Sky and our Discord channels. So if you are not following us on Blue Sky, or you are not in our Discord and you want an opportunity to participate in next month's episode or a future month's episode, make sure you follow us over there so you can see when these forms go out.
Join us. This is a threat.
It is.
It's well worth it, I promise.
Yes,
it's a very worthwhile threat.
All right, Sierra, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. This first one is going to be coming in from DB Phantom. And he states, I'm a 25-year-old trans guy. I always knew I was a little different, but I didn't know I was trans until college, as I didn't have the vocabulary for it until then. My friend groups for most of my life have always consisted of mainly dudes, and my interest in mermaiding and mermedia was definitely considered too girly, heavy quotes, for them to engage with. When I realized I was transgender in college, I was honestly terrified and kind of doubtful. And I won't lie, part of that was because of my love for mermaiding and mermedia. After all, 99% of the media surrounding mermaids is aimed towards girls. When you think of merpeople, you probably think of mermaids first. Shout out to Mako Mermaids for having a strong merman main character. Like, I actually had a whole gender crisis about it because my mermaiding hobby, would be a lot less judged if I just didn't transition, you know? And then I entered the broader community, and nobody actually cared that I was a merman. Nobody judged me at all. They were just so welcoming and happy to have me. In fact, there were guys in the community, including older guys, who were completely respected and secure in their masculinity, and just here to have fun and be themselves. It sounds so silly to type it out, but it was genuinely such a relief for me to see that. Even if I logically knew I shouldn't care about that sort of thing, as a kid/preteen, my first real experience seeing the broader mermaiding community actually came from a show I watched with my parents. I think it was called My Strange Obsession or something, about a guy who mermaided. I remember my parents poking fun at it and laughing at him, sitting there silently going, "Oh, I don't want to be laughed at like that." It just really stuck with me. Years pass, and it turns out that very guy was who I bought my very first monofin and fabric tail from. That just makes me feel so happy to be able to say, you have no idea. This community is incredible and so welcoming and warm. I am so happy to be able to say I've finally found my people.
I know exactly which episode he's referring to as well. It was an episode of My Strange Addiction with Eric Ducharme in it.
I was about to say, I
Yes.
think I know the episode, and it's the Mertailer. That's the Mertailer.
They definitely framed that episode as very much like a sort of like, oh, look at this freak sort of way, which I guess is kind of the whole point of the show, but like, you know,
Yes,
Eric
TLC.
was, yeah.
Yeah, they have a very broad history of spinning their quote-unquote reality TV. So, yeah, absolutely. But I'm really glad that even though they had that spin where they're trying to make somebody a freak show, even though he's very talented, he's very successful, he's really cool. I'm glad that was able to kind of awaken, something in you. That any kind of media, just see yourself in somebody is so important.
Yeah, and I think that's a testament also to how much mermedia, as DB Phantom says, mermedia, I like that word, how much it's come along in the last few years, because I know that My Strange Addiction episode came out like years and years and years ago, right? But, you know,
Like a decade
as
and a half
recently,
ago, yeah.
yeah, right. But as recently as just a couple years ago, we had Merpeople on Netflix come out, and I feel like the portrayals of the mermaiding community in pop culture is becoming more open and accepting, and I think that's a general trend that hopefully keeps up in the world in general for both the mermaiding community and the LGBTQ plus community.
And really, at the end of the day, isn't that the whole point of Pride Month? To just remind LGBTQ people that they're not freaks, that they're not social outcasts, and that we see them.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's, I'm just trying to think of a good wording because I'm not within the community myself. I am just an ally, so I like to be very careful with the words that I'm choosing and the way that I express things. And I want to frame it in a way that isn't trying to speak for a community that I'm not a part of. But I can absolutely say that I think that being made to feel welcomed and loved in any sense for any reason is so important. It is so important for other human beings to have their people, quote unquote.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, next we have another submission from Mermaid Kylan. From a very young age, I've been fascinated with mermaids. It was a big sign of my femininity back then. I'm assigned male at birth, trans feminine by gender. I always shoved it to the back of my mind because I was too embarrassed of it. I secretly wanted to watch all the mermaid movies and shows on Netflix and secretly made up mermaid stories in my head for my own enjoyment. My acceptance of my love of mermaids was a big step towards acceptance of my gender identity. Sometime in my post-college years, I found out mermaiding is a thing. I've now been to Mermagicon twice with my first tale, and the experience both times were absolutely wonderful. So much beauty and artistry and self-expression. When I was younger, I thought I'd never be able to indulge in this obsession of mine, but now that it's brought me so much joy. I now read tons of mermaid books and comics, and I look out for shows and movies with merfolk. I even am writing some of my own mermaid web novels, but that's a story for another day.
Well,
Oh.
Kylan, if you're listening to this, please feel free to share some of that in the pod whenever you get a chance.
Yeah, we will be on the lookout for sure.
Yes, we always want to uplift the creators in our community.
I especially love how gender identity seems to play a role in a lot of people's obsessions with merpeople. I'm sure this is something we'll dive into. Haha, dive. But I'm sure this is something we'll discuss a bit more later on in the podcast. But it really is just kind of nice seeing that sort of thing, how people can feel comfortable coming out as transgender and discovering their own gender identity through merpeople in that regard.
I agree, absolutely. I think that it's a way for any gender, any kind of identity at all, whether it be sexuality, the gender, any of it specifically, I think is such a gateway for that self-expression because there's so much color, there's so much imagination, there's so much story that can go into that. And I think that really
That's a very
reflects.
good way of putting it.
Thank you. I think it really reflects on the human experience. Even though it's a mythical creature, it's something that we all want. We all want to be able to be ourselves in any capacity, no matter what that means. We want to be able to express ourselves with colors or artistry, whatever that may mean, not just pen and paper. And I think that mermedia is such a great way to inspire that within ourselves. And I'm very glad that the people that we've so far read about have found that mermedia and been able to be inspired in that way.
Mm-hmm,
Absolutely. All right, I guess I have the last two then. So this is from Sebastial. Mermaiding has impacted me as a queer person as, even though I didn't have a tail yet, it is so freeing and has given me the confidence to express myself both inside and out of the mermaid community.
I love that. I love how they mentioned that they don't have a tail, but the mermaiding community still allows them to explore their identity in a way that is safe and fulfilling.
Very liberating, yeah. All right.
I'm sure. I'm so happy for this person.
All right. And the last one is from Libra. Mermaiding to me as a non-binary person means to me a place in which gender roles are irrelevant and I can embrace femininity without being cliche or seen as weird. Also, the mermaiding community is amazingly LGBT friendly, unlike other spaces I have been in online. I like the way they phrase that. Gender roles are irrelevant. You know, that's kind of something I've always believed in.
And I love how they're pointing out that you don't have to fall into a stereotypical box. Like, as a woman, I don't have to specifically be feminine in this sort of space.
Right.
or a male can show a more quote unquote sensitive side. It gives you the space not only to be a mythological creature, but to be yourself in every capacity, every emotion, every form of self expression. I love it.
Yes, even as a man myself, I admit the whole idea of just mermaiding and being a merman, it does feel like awfully like feminine to me. That's kind of the appeal to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know how many of you have seen a photo of me IRL, but I tend to have my hair pretty long and it goes down past my shoulders. While I am not transgender myself, I admit that there is like that feminine appeal to mermaiding that does just sort of call out to me a bit. And having my hair down this long, it does make me feel pretty in for lack of a better word.
Yeah. I think I've struggled a lot with embrace, even though I am born female, like I am female, I identify as female. I've struggled a lot with embracing femininity just because of rigid gender roles in the world. Like, like there's a certain perception people have of
Right.
people who appear female, just like different, like misogyny is rampant and stuff like that. All the bad stuff, all the bad sides of it. But I think mermaiding, ever since I've gotten into mermaiding, it's a safe space to embrace femininity. It is. And it's not seen as weird, it's not seen as weak, it's actually seen as empowering regardless of what gender you actually identify as. So I think that's really cool.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Before mermaiding, I was I rejected the femininity a lot, even though I am a cis straight woman. It was all black all the time. I wasn't a pick me because I was still one of the girls, but I didn't want to be associated with the femininity itself, the pink and the softness, and I wanted to be seen as tough. I didn't understand that you can still be tough and still be feminine at the same time. I think that mermaiding really did open that up. I mean, I didn't even wear the color pink until I got my pink Aquafairy Whimsy Tail in, I think it was 2021. So I completely understand where that bridge comes from and how freeing it is to have the space to open up and explore the different sides of the human experience.
Yeah, you mentioned not being able to, like, not wearing pink until you got into mermaiding and got a tail that has pink. I was kind of the same way because I'd always identified with, like, even before I joined the mermaiding community, I always identified with maybe having like a green tail, like Ariel, because my hair is red in real life. So I always kind of identified with Princess Ariel, like as if I were a mermaid, like that's how I imagine myself. But I absolutely fell in love with a purple, pinky purple, and blue fin folk tail. And once I wore that, I was like, oh, it's game over. Like, but it also, just being able to put on that tail, and it doesn't matter like what colors you're wearing, it doesn't matter like what you look like, it's just like everyone is a mermaid. It doesn't matter if you have any perceived imperfections. And I have a couple of friends who are, transgender, and we've swam together quite a few times, and especially my male to female trans friends have expressed how validating it is to be in the tail and to, like, wear the shell bras and all this other stuff and just be able to swim and present as feminine in a feminine space.
Ironically, finding humanity in becoming something that is not human.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that we can learn so much from really anything, not just the mythological mermaids, but even from being outside or watching the way that your pet dog responds to you without needing to use words. I seek that kind of thing out in life to try to understand things that don't always have the words to be understood.
Mhm.
All right, when we come back from the break, we've got an interview with a special guest from our server.
You're listening to WPOD FM Mermaid Radio. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Throw your legs away for fantastic freedom with Aquafresh's all-new Mermaid potions. Choose a tail that fits your style from a wide range of flavors, from Blue Tang Blueberry to Salmon Sarsaparilla. Make your summer a splash and pick up a bottle today.
Howdy, folks. Gary Guppy here, founder and owner of WPOD FM. You see, when I formed this station back in 1978, I did so with one simple goal in mind: to bring good quality public radio to sea and land dwellers alike. And thanks to listeners like you, we've been able to do just that. If you'd like for us to continue to do what we love, then please consider donating to our Ko-fi page. A simple $5 donation will not only ensure that our lights stay on and the equipment keeps humming, but you'll also get early access to segments from the podcast, as well as a shout out in the next episode. So please, from the bottom of this old fish's heart, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Now, back to our programming.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we'll be interviewing a close friend of ours and a cherished member of the pod who many of you may recognize. So, without further ado, please welcome everyone's favorite clownfish, MerMaya. Maya, would you care to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. I'm Maya. I've been in the mermaid community for a few years now. Just recently had everything just kind of fall into place. Just get a nice personality going. Everyone just get to know me.
Yes, and get to know you, we certainly have. You've actually become something of a celebrity in the pod over the past year or so. Not only does everybody recognize you and greet you every time you log on, but you've actually made quite a few contributions to the server as well in the form of emotes and stickers, one of which being a very popular one involving your persona doing a tail flap happily. How does that feel?
You know, it just feels like you finally find a place that you belong, because most of my life I just felt like a social outcast and pretty much everywhere I'd go, school, just other, just smaller servers, but just having like people that just kind of lift you up on your bad days just feels really nice. It's something that I'm not really used to, because I feel like a lot of my life I was just put down.
Yeah, we have certainly formed a nice little tight woven community, haven't we? Do you have any more stickers or emotes planned in the near future?
Well, I actually have a few that aren't actually in the pod. Some of them,
Ooh.
I feel like, wouldn't really... They're kind of like one sticker that I can think of that I don't think would be a really good fit for the servers. Do you know that one picture of someone grabbing someone by their neck and it's just a tight grip around the... I don't even know what it is, but I have something like that. I don't know how well that would be as a sticker in the server. But I have a few other ones that's like one cuddled up in a blanket and one just aggressively looking at a piece of paper. I feel like those might be good. And in terms of future emotes, really it's just a matter of ideas that come to me, because I know the real good artist that does like good prices and just good quality prices for a good selection of emotes. So if I could just get some good ideas, I'd love to get some more.
Indeed. So we noticed in the pod, mermaids have definitely been like a huge part of your identity. I believe you even said that you identify as mermaidkin yourself. How would you say mermaids have helped reflect you personally?
It's something that I've had just sitting in the back of my mind for most of my life, honestly. It's just, you know, for a long time, you get embarrassed by the idea of liking mermaids. It makes you just feel awkward. You just think about it, I'm not supposed to like this kind of stuff, so I should probably just shove it down and just stop thinking about it, but you just keep crawling up every now and then. I kind of just embraced it and just went down the path of self-discovery back in like 2020 or so, and I slowly started getting more comfortable with this side of myself, and now I just can't see myself any other way.
So you would say that mermaids in general have played a big role in discovering who you are?
For sure.
All right. What about influences? Like, what got you into mermaids, and what about them exactly appeals to you?
If you can believe it, a long time ago, back when I was 7 or 8, I got gifted this Tom and Jerry DVD. And in it, there's this one episode on this DVD is an episode of Tom's at the beach and Jerry knocks him into the pier and Tom just falls into the ocean. And he has this hallucination of Jerry as a mermaid. And it's full of this, classic cartoon slapstick and whimsy. And just something about it just made me think, wow, that just seems like a whole lot of fun. And this just goes back to, man, I gotta keep shoving this down because I feel embarrassed by it, even kind of still to this day. But just something about that sense of freedom and whimsy that you feel it's like flying, the dream of people flying, but instead of flying in the sky, you're just flying through the ocean. I feel like just having that sense of freedom, just gliding through the open waters would just be incredible to feel.
I think a lot of people listening to this would definitely agree. Now, that kind of leads into my next question about your favorite types of mermaid media. What would you say are some of your favorite mermaid books, movies, etc. to consume?
Honestly, if you can really believe it, it wasn't until last year that I actually watched the original Little Mermaid movie from Disney. And I don't really read that much. It's just mostly just like the way I get my mermaid fixing is just following other artists and just seeing what they create on all sorts of different platforms. And I love seeing people in the communities. Mermaid's my favorite time of year because I just see everyone's creative endeavors go to work and how they create these beautiful underwater scenes and characters, and it's just something I look forward to every year.
Couldn't agree more. Your Mersona in the pod has definitely become a bit of an iconic piece of the server, to the point where I'm pretty sure anybody listening to this podcast who is from the server will just immediately associate anything clownfish related to your Mersona. So tell us a little bit about that. What was the inspiration behind that? Why a clownfish exactly?
Well, when I first got the idea to create my own first Mersona, I wasn't actually the one who pitched the clownfish idea. It was one of my old friends.
All right.
She had the idea of, oh, you should do a clownfish because clownfish in nature can naturally change what gender they are depending on the circumstances of their surroundings.
Oh, okay.
And I was originally hesitant on the idea because most clownfish I've seen at the time were just clowns, and I wasn't really sure I wasn't go full clown makeup and the nose and stuff. But she was like, oh, well, I'll give you a cool little idea. She drew it for me and gave it to me, and I'm like, wow, this is literally perfect. Just a full 10 out of 10, just right off the bat. And over time, there was a point in August of 2023 that I got a slight update on the redesign. I gave her glasses, which she didn't have glasses before, which I wear glasses, so I kind of need those to see. And I feel like every aspect of her is designed to naturally reflect me as a person. The beads she has around her tail are like a light blue. Those are supposed to represent turquoise, which is the birthstone of December, which is my birthday.
Oh, okay.
And you've got the lesbian seashell, because, I like girls. At one point, last year, I got a redesign to be a little bit, bigger, for lack of a better word, because I'm not exactly a thin supermodel myself, so it just feels nicer looking at this softer, more huggable version of myself, I'd say, because I feel like that more accurately represents me.
You can definitely see a lot more of yourself in your Sona now, you would say.
Yes, definitely.
So I've actually seen your Mersona take on a number of different kind of mythical creature forms before. You've had her become a Naga or Lamia, whichever you want to call it, which for those of you who are listening who don't know, that's a snake person, essentially. And I think you even said that you were thinking about doing a centaur form, or you have done a centaur form at one point. Why don't you tell us a little bit about these other forms you've made?
Well, the idea for getting other forms has like a few different ways I thought about it. I think I first got the original idea was because back shortly after, like in around 2023, I started watching Ben 10 with a friend. And, he gets all these different forms that he can transform into. And, you know what, that would be cool. What if I get a whole bunch of other forms? Because I like monster people of all different kinds. And I am also very indecisive. I could have easily seen myself, like, in an alternate timeline, be a Lamia, just forever. So, the Lamia was the first one to be created. I have this snake artist VTuber friend called Faye Blackwell, and she once drew this idea for a snake transformation potion, and said, oh, you should drink it. And then I got art of her drinking it, and then she becomes a snake. Now, first I wanted to, make it based on another actual snake. I first chose, like, a coral snake, because that's a similar kind of reddish, blackish, orangish color. But then I thought, maybe I should keep the sort of clownfish motif. I feel like that would make her stand out a lot more and be instantly more recognizable as an alternate form. And then over time, I expanded it. Like, you mentioned, like, a centaur. I actually do have a deer tar, which I think the correct term for that is servitor, I believe. And I've also got a genie, an arachnid, and I've got a whole bunch of other small one-off forms. I've got her drawn as, like, a slime girl, and this little cat Animal Crossing villager that I thought was really cute.
That does sound cute.
A harpy as well. Like, I actually once dreamed I was in harpy form once, and just doing loops in the air, and at one point I just face planted in the dirt, which is kind of funny to think about.
All right. How has your experience being trans panned out in your life? What has life been like for you since you have come out and realized this is who you are?
It just feels a lot more alleviating to you tell people what you feel, and then people just say that it's like, oh, people might get they might be a bit confused for a while, but I feel most people I've told this to are very accepting and very welcoming of what I want to be and who I feel like. And obviously there's some people that just don't see me like that, and you have to obviously just get them out of your life. But otherwise, like, I feel like my experience has been mostly positive.
All right. So, as we know, the harsh reality for a lot of people who are in the LGBTQ community, they don't nearly have it as good. They can experience anything from gender dysphoria to just general bigotry, and especially in this time and day, they are having to experience a lot of hardships from one party or another. So, I guess my question to you, is there anything you would like to say for anybody out there who is maybe experiencing this kind of bigotry or is perhaps unsure of where their life is going in terms of this?
I feel like the most important thing you can do is, because of the way that everyone is online now, there's always some sort of space that you can find of people, of like-minded people that will always be there for you and help you through your worst moments. And just finding that group of people, like, really just helps on the days where you're just absolutely crushed. Just having, like, anybody right beside you, ready to help you on those days, just really does a numbers for, like, your mental health. Just finding that community, no matter what the size it is just the most important thing to try to help you get through the day by day of just being put down by whatever real life circumstances are happening.
That was very wonderfully well put. Thank you, Maya. Thank you very much for joining us on the podcast today, Maya.
All right. Thank you very much for having me.
You're listening to WPOD FM Mermaid Radio. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Need a new shell phone? Poseidon Wireless has you covered. Our family plans can help you save money and get better benefits than our competitors, starting as low as 40 shells a month. We'll even let you keep your old shell phone when you switch. Sign up today and we'll hook you up with a new Murex Digital for no extra charge. Poseidon Wireless, where the ocean meets your ear.
Most fitness tapes are made for merfolk, or people with just 2 legs. But my tape is made for people with 8. Hi, I'm Betty Delphani, and I'm here to introduce Cicalia Aerobics, the first ever fitness tape made exclusively for Cicalia. My 4-tape collection will help you out with several daily exercise routines that'll get your tentacles moving, from sucker stretches to curling and more. This collection also comes with a set of weights to help build tentacle strength and mass. And all this comes at the low, low price of just 50 shells. Call us now at 555-8888 and order your set today.
All right, welcome back. Now it's time to close out our June episode with Community Corner as usual. Our lovely artist that has done the episode art for this month is Cartoon John. You can find him at cartoonjohn.bluesky.social. He is an inspiring cartoonist and an animator, and he currently has a webcomic, Merboys, that is on Webtoons, that we will be linking in the description, that is currently on hiatus, but you should go check it out and give him some support. Thank you, John, for doing our episode art.
Yes, thank you. It is lovely. I'm obsessed with it. And I do want to say, you know what else I am completely obsessed with? A few weeks ago, the Merlympics also took place in Germany. I did want to give that a shout out, as all of the athletes did such an amazing job. You can check out the highlights and the live streams at the official Merlympics. They have a website, officialmerlympics.com. I highly recommend everybody take a look at that.
Absolutely. And of course, in terms of events going on in the pod Discord server itself, we have our weekly streams going on. We have Chico with his weekly art streams every Monday. And of course, yours truly streaming games every Friday night. But not only that, Chico has also relaunched his Wet Frontier webcomic. So I would highly recommend you guys go check that out. It's at wetfrontier.com. He has his own website for it. And he is completely remastering the entire webcomic. And I gotta say, it looks absolutely spectacular so far.
All right, and with that, we will see you guys next month. Thank you so much for listening. Happy splashing!
Thanks for joining us on this month's episode of the Mermaid Podcast.
Tune in next month for our Summer Sunshine episode.
As always, don't forget to get on your shell phones and follow us on TikTok and Blue Sky at the Mermaid Podcast and join our wonderful Discord community. Happy splashing! We'd like to thank our coffee donors that have made this month's episode possible, Isla and Elizabeth. Thank you.
If you enjoy this month's episode and want to hear more from us, consider donating to our coffee, linked in the description. Every amount counts and helps pay for our recording software and maintenance fees. Without our wonderful donors, we couldn't do what we do. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you.
This has been the Mermaid Podcast here on WPOD FM, Mermaid Radio. I'm Gary Guppy, and we hope to catch you all next time.